Today's video is kindly sponsored by jerseyfifa.com, the website you need to head to right away to get yourself the latest high quality football shirts at an extremely affordable price. And what's even better than that, you can use code JerseyFIFA at checkout to get 10% off your order. The link will be in the description, but again I just want to say a massive thank you to Jersey FIFA for sponsoring the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today I'll be doing analysis of yesterday evening's big Premier League clash between Southampton and Liverpool. There were a few question marks over how Southampton would set up, but they ended up opting for a bit of a 5-4-1 shape, whilst Liverpool were in their more regular 4-3-3. So we'll start the video by looking at the home side, and as we'd expect, the Southampton defenders found themselves under pressure, with Liverpool squeezing high up the pitch to try and win the ball back as quickly as possible. This would have been a surprise to absolutely nobody. Liverpool always look to press in this sort of fashion, and this game was no different, with numerous yellow shirts regularly pushing up the pitch. Again, unsurprisingly, it made life quite difficult for McCarthy in goal for Southampton, and he never really looked particularly comfortable on the ball, and it allowed Liverpool to win the ball back on a regular basis. Despite this, there were still occasions where Southampton did manage to play their way through the press thanks to their technical quality, and this then allowed them to try and build possession in a 3-2 shape. We can see this shape quite clearly in these two shots here, and we can see that it just caused Liverpool to drop off a few yards, allowing the Southampton defenders to move the ball towards the midfield. Although, to be honest, players like James Ward-Prowse still found it quite difficult to get on the ball due to Liverpool's narrow defensive shape, and it made it difficult for Southampton's tempo setters to get into the game. Despite struggling through the centre of the pitch, Southampton did have more success out wide through Kyle Walker-Peters, who done an excellent job of making runs forward down the right hand side and into the final third. Particularly during the first half, Walker-Peters actually carried a big attacking threat thanks to his energy and speed down the right hand side of the pitch, and he did get himself into a few good positions. Unfortunately for Southampton, once Walker-Peters got into the final third, he just lacked the quality on the ball that was needed, but he still played well in a season where he has been absolutely brilliant. Southampton also had some success down the other side of the pitch as well through Nathan Redmond, who we all know is more than comfortable receiving the ball into feet before then looking to carry the play forward on the dribble. Redmond wasn't able to get into the game quite as much as Walker-Peters was, however he certainly still carried a threat, as we all saw for his goal as he carried the ball over half the pitch before cutting in and scoring. As I said, playing at wing-back meant that Redmond didn't get forward as much as he would have perhaps liked, but he certainly possessed a big threat when he did get himself into these attacking areas. These driving runs forward from the two wing-backs of course provided the attacking width for Southampton, which obviously then allowed the two wingers to make runs into more central areas where space had now been created. This is exactly what we can see here, with the wing-backs dragging defenders away, allowing Elyounoussi to get on the ball slightly narrower, and I thought that his play on the ball and his runs in behind were impressive. This willingness to make runs off the ball certainly caused Liverpool some problems in the first 30 minutes of the match, and I thought that Elyounoussi was one of Southampton's better players for large periods. However, Southampton's intensity did soon wear off as the game made its way towards half-time, and eventually it left Southampton relying on the counter-attack, with the side unable to sustain any real pressure on the ball. To be fair, on these counter-attacks the team certainly did carry a threat, with Broja in particular regularly troubling the Liverpool back line, and I actually really enjoyed his battle up against Liverpool defender Konate. However, despite Broja's good work to gain some ground, Southampton just weren't able to get players around him, especially as the game progressed, and in the end Broja did become quite isolated. Despite the close scoreline, I do think that Hasenhüttl will be disappointed with his side's performance. They started with such purpose in possession, but as we'll see in a moment or two, Liverpool took control. So now it's time to look at what Liverpool done in possession, and it seems pretty fair to say that they approached this game very differently, and it started with the fact that they had so much time on the ball in their defence. This obviously doesn't really require too much explanation because the Liverpool defenders just had so much time on the ball, with Southampton choosing to drop off towards their own half in a more defensive shape. It actually left Alisson with pretty much nothing to do all game, and he did end up as a bit of a bystander, and when he did get the ball at his feet, there really wasn't very much pressure on him to be in any sort of rush. As a result of this time on the ball, Liverpool were able to move towards the halfway line quite effortlessly, from where they actually started by building possession in a 3-1 shape with Gomez tucking in from the right hand side. This is certainly not the initial phase possession shape that we're used to seeing from Liverpool, although it made sense with Gomez on the right, as he naturally wanted to play slightly more central alongside the centre-backs. To be fair, as the game went on, we did see him becoming slightly more adventurous with his play, as he slowly begun to push higher and higher down the right hand side in order to support the attackers. As I keep saying, Liverpool continues to have time on the ball in these sorts of areas, and as a result it allowed Matip to take the ball in the centre before then looking to step forward and carry the ball higher up the pitch. Matip has of course been doing this all season, and he's been one of the best ball progressors in the Premier League this year, and again it was a great way for Liverpool to take the initiative as they moved the ball forward. Overall, I thought that the centre-back pairing had a very good game together, with Matip in particular impressing, and for me he is an absolute must for the Premier League team this season, but you can vote on that soon. But time to get back to this match, and Liverpool actually had another way to progress the ball forward, with Curtis Jones often dropping in alongside Milner to get the ball, before then looking to carry the ball slightly higher up the pitch. Curtis Jones actually had a slightly higher starting position on the left of the midfield, but he would regularly drop into these areas to get the ball, allowing him to play on the turn to then carry the ball through the pitch. Actually, considering he hasn't had much game time recently, I thought he had a pretty good game. Granted, he did keep the play quite safe, but he was effective with the work he done and he played an important role. Liverpool's variation of ball progression didn't stop there, because we also often saw Roberto Firmino dropping deeper into the midfield to get the ball into his feet, allowing him to link the play with those around him. We all know Firmino's quality, he is absolutely brilliant on the ball, and he was popping up all over the pitch to get the ball, allowing him to take his time before then turning to play the pass to a teammate. Fortunately for Firmino, he has found himself on the bench much more in recent months, but he showed that he still has plenty to offer to this side, as he was so secure and technically proficient on the ball. Despite progressing the ball through the centre, some of Liverpool's better attacks actually came in wider areas, through Tsimikas in particular, who regularly looked to bomb forward from left back before then crossing. Tsimikas provided a threat for Liverpool right from the start, with both of these crosses coming during the first 7 minutes of the match, and again he showed his value to this team and he pushed forward time and time again. I was actually saying the other day how Liverpool's recruitment department deserve credit for signing Luis Diaz, and the same has to be said for Tsimikas because he is brilliant every time he plays. As you'd expect, Liverpool also carried a threat over on the other side of the pitch as well, and that mainly came through Harvey Elliott, who looked to drift into this wider area where he was occasionally supported by Joe Gomez. This was Elliott's first league start in a long time, but he soon adapted to the pace of the game and put in a very good performance, as he regularly drifted towards this right hand side before then looking to create a chance for someone else. I'm actually really interested to see what sort of role he will have in the team next season, especially if Liverpool dip into the transfer market, because even at 19 he deserves regular football. But again, it's time to get back to this game and actually focus on what I'm supposed to be talking about, because this width was important, as it allowed the likes of Jota and Minamino to move infield into the centre. This space was obviously created because of Firmino dropping deeper, and it allowed Jota and Minamino to get into goal scoring positions, and it was these two that linked up in the box for the Minamino's goal in the first half. Like I said, these two players started the match as what we would call wingers, but they were never really in these wide areas, but they were quite impressive in these more central areas with their link-up play. Considering all the injuries to the Liverpool first team, I thought this was a reasonably impressive performance, and it again showed that Liverpool have so much squad depth compared to what they've had in the past. Klopp deserves credit for the way that he has built this squad, while he of course also deserves all the praise for the way that his side plays, because even with numerous changes, Liverpool always looked like threatening. The attacking threat of Liverpool eventually paid off, as they were able to secure the 2-1 win and a massive 3 points. As I was saying earlier, I do think that Hassan Hurtel will be slightly disappointed with his team's performance, because they really did fade as the game went on. As for Liverpool, well, they were brilliant once again, and it always looked like it was a matter of time before they got the goals that they needed, and they certainly deserve to take all 3 points, and it of course makes things very interesting as we head towards the last weekend of the season. And I'm really keen to hear your thoughts. Get in the comments and let me know who is going to win the Premier League title, because it's been brilliant this year. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.